am your host, the man they call Ghost. And once again, folks, I want to thank everybody for tuning in with me. Before we get into anything else, baby, please spread around like wildfire and let everybody know that we're in effect and in the house here on True Capitalist Radio. All right? Retweet the broadcast. Go to the forums. Go to the blogs. Go to the social networking sites. Let everybody know that we're in effect into the house. And if you're listening somewhere else on the internet, because it's completely possible, because, well, like I have said on many shows, you can actually simulcast the broadcast from your website by cutting and pasting the True Capitalist player, which is on the website at blogtalkradio.com/ghost. All right, come on down here. We've got some room in the chat room, for Christ's sake. I want to hear from you, all right? We got a lot of milky lickers up in here flapping their fat Cheeto-stained fingers on the keyboard in an attempt to try to talk malarkey at me, but they can't do it because they know that they're in the presence of a real man that is asserting real manly dominance on this airwaves like it ain't shit. So come on down. blogtalkradio.com/ghost. All right, come down here and chat with us. Break bread with us. Let us know what's going on. Anyway, we were supposed to be talking about Barack Obama and an attempt at trying to get this debt ceiling talks in order with both sides, the teabagger and the right-winger jerk dicks and the left-wing long-haired liberal bedwetting hippies, and nothing seems to be going in his favor. And us as American people, we should be concerned. We should be calling our congressmen. We should be calling our senators, demanding these idiots take their heads out of their clogged-up poopers and realize that, hey, the jeopardy of the economic integrity of America is on your shoulders, you bureaucratic jerk-ass. And if we default, and anything that transpires because of that is on your head, you stupid jerks. Just because you want to be bureaucrats and put your pecker shafts on the table and say, my pecker shaft is bigger than your pecker shaft. Shut up. Anyway, I'm going to move on to another subject matter because you people don't give a crap about what's going on. So let's just move on, shall we? Let's talk a little bit about the internet. Since all you people out here that are listening, that's what you're listening from. You're listening from the internet. Well, let's put it this way. We reported, a couple of months ago, that the latest, some bureaucratic bookworm nerd report came out stating that 30% of the Internet's bandwidth, 30% of the Internet's bandwidth is coming from Netflix. Can you believe this? Netflix is comprising of 30% of the Internet's bandwidth. I mean, it's serious business, all right? And I was just waiting. You know, when that report came out and stated that, I was just waiting for Netflix to start asserting a vulgar display of power towards those that created its supremacy in the Internet delivery of streaming content. And lo and behold, that's exactly what happened, folks. Have you heard today? Netflix is going to increase their prices for DVD streaming plans by 60%. Yeah. Well, just when you thought it was cheaper to just get rid of cable, just when you thought it was cheaper to just kind of, I'm just going to go all internet, you've got these internet bandwidth caps that these goddamn broadband connectors are starting to implement. You've got these, streaming companies like Netflix now, they're starting to increase their prices. They're going to increase it as high as 60%. 60%? And why do they think that they are so confident in doing this? Well, because, by God, that report that came out a couple of months ago, we reported on it right here on True Capitalist Radio, that stated that 30% of the Internet's bandwidth is comprised of nothing more than idiots downloading and streaming DVDs on Netflix. Can you believe this crap? I mean, it's amazing, but it doesn't surprise me whatsoever. You know what I'm saying? That does not surprise me. Anyway, I want to hear from you. What do you got to say about it? 646-652-4869. Let me see. We got Tazeki on the horn. What's going on, Tazeki? How you doing, man?
Hello, Ghost. As always, it's a pleasure and a privilege to talk to you, sir.
Hey, it's good to hear from you. How you doing? What do you think about this Netflix situation?
Yeah, before I start, I actually want to say I'm kind of quite proud to be one of the first calls tonight that just hasn't gone, It's fucking newfags. Seriously. It's like, at least have a thought about what you're going to say before you phone up. It's retarded not to.
It's horrible. I mean, are you kidding me? It's showing the digression of human society here. The complete digression. You can't even concoct your own thought process to communicate. I mean, isn't this one of the first things that we think about as we're growing up as toddlers? Like, okay, I got to communicate, got to talk, I want food, I mean, isn't this one of the first things that we think about as we're growing up? What the hell's going on with this crap?
No, I totally agree. And I mean, who sits there on hold? Because, I mean, I know right now you've got so many thousands of listeners it's quite hard to get through, but who actually sits there and is like, I'm going to call into Ghost and I'm going to say something, but you know what, I'll think of it the moment he picks me up. And it's like, it shows that people cannot think on their feet or come up with a single original idea. They're just vapid is the only adjective that really suits them.
And, you know, it's hit the Western societies. It's not just America. It's Western civilization in general. It seems that the prosperity of economics and the systems of economics have made the majority of these masses complacent in mediocrity, below mediocrity at this point. I mean, when you can't even concoct a sentence, you know, when you cannot even concoct a sentence to communicate your thoughts, I think that we're at a new level at this point.
I thoroughly agree, Ghost. I've actually got a couple of topics tonight, so can I kind of move through a couple of things I'd like to talk about quickly, kind of fairly?
Go for it.
Okay?
Go right ahead, man. Go right ahead.
I mean, when it comes to the Netflix, though, I mean, we have an issue where broadband providers absolutely oversell their services. You know, it's all unlimited this, unlimited that. And at the moment you kind of start torrenting or use a large amount of bandwidth, whether it be legally or illegally, suddenly you're in trouble with your ISP, not because you've broken any laws or anything, but because you're using more bandwidth than they can provide you if everyone did it at the same time. And I'm expecting that Netflix is going to be behind large amounts of, we're going to have to lay out more infrastructure to support all this bandwidth, where, websites make up such a small percentage by comparison. And you know who it's going to be. It's going to be like the punters, like you and I, who pay for broadband connections, who the ISPs are going to kind of, shift these costs onto. It's going to be a case of, you want Netflix? Well, we're going to have to buy some more lines and stuff, so we'll be invoicing you for that, just through increased prices. And that's what I worry about. I think that's...
I think that they're already attempting to do that now, Tazeki. I mean, 60% increase on DVD streaming services. I mean, this is showing that the potential increase for bandwidth of the future has got to be built by somebody. And since they're, generating large sums of revenue through profitability through this mean of income, while at the same time their stock is just unbelievable at the same time, I think that it would behoove them, I hope, that this increase basically is justified by creating more infrastructure, like you stated, in hopes of providing the high demand for DVD streaming services, show streaming services, so on and so forth, because the $9.99 a month deal is no longer going to be around any longer. It's gone. It's a thing of the past. And people are going to start seeing gradual increases up and up. I wouldn't be surprised to see this Netflix bill to start looking like cable bills. Cable bills at one point, I still have cable, but because of the competitiveness of the different networks now, they're starting to come down in that price. But inevitably, at one point, it was a small car payment to get some damn premium cable out here. And Netflix provided that escape, that out. And I think at some point with this particular increase, and I'm sure increases to come, we're going to see, the Netflix bill, on top of the high cost of a broadband bill, start being a thing of profitability in the future for a lot of these corporations that invested in this infrastructure.
No, I quite agree. I mean, the thing about Netflix raising its prices, that's just about its own infrastructure. It's all about servers and buying some very large pipes to stream their content. But again, this content can quite quickly come out. I mean, that's a very high-level, large pipe. But when you get lower down to the people living in the houses, that they're going to need more than broadband connections to handle all of this. You know, the actual ISPs, the people with the phone lines, are going to have to absorb the cost. And I think Netflix have realised they've got something of a monopoly, and they can hike their prices and, you know, say, you know, it's infrastructure, but, you know, we'll take a percentage on the top under the guise. And meanwhile, we're also likely to be screwed by the ISPs. And, you know, I see it, as I said, I see it being a very unfortunate time for all of the costs.
Well, you know, what's really unfortunate is that I was one of these optimists for the freedom of the Internet when it first came out in the early 90s. I mean, the whole inspiration of the time of the early 90s was about freedom of everything, open source. I mean, everything was really, really you know, kind of an optimistic digital time. And unfortunately, the consequence of that and the side effect of that was, you know, mediocrity, just as like we've seen out here in today's American economies and other westernized economies. And my case in point is the idea that we were supposed to somehow allow this freedom to express, this freedom to be able to go out and search, this freedom to be able to articulate, communicate, to be able to inspire creativity. And I think that we've come down to a hurdle here because we're starting to see the old mechanisms that used to monopolize creativity. They're coming back around and beginning to hold, once again, a certain monopoly on creating content. And I think that right now, if individuals know how to create content, this would be an ample opportunity for them to start creating something original that they can exclusively deliver on their own. And I think that right now the Internet is just at its peak. I mean, it's not even at its peak. It's at its cusp of its peak to potentially make a content provider or somebody who actually distributes content, creates content. These people can actually make themselves some serious capital if they're creative enough, if they're hardworking enough, if they're motivating enough to be able to maintain and sustain an audience worldwide. I think that you know, if there was just some creativity out there in the world, I think that we would be able to see a little less of a monopoly from these big wigs like Netflix, like you know, Facebook, and these people that are trying to license these monopolized pieces of content, like movies, like music, so on and so forth. And I think that now is the time. If there's anybody that is inspired to create video, audio, artistic content, whatever the case might be, put their all into it, distribute it to the world, and inspire others to do the same. Because if we don't, like you just said, Tazeki, we're going to see Netflix, we're going to see, you know, these big, huge conglomerates like Facebook, Microsoft, Google, all these people hold a monopoly on creativity, and that's the last thing that I want to see, or anybody that really, truly appreciates the digital freedom that this fiber optically connected network provides us.
No, I totally agree, Ghost. I don't want to take up too much time on your show. Do you mind if I move on to a second topic here? Because, I don't really have anything to add to that. I think you're quite on the money. Are you aware of the Goofy Bone gossip that's currently going on?
No, what happened? I'm unaware. What's going on?
Well, according to his show, he's currently in jail after starting a fight at some nightclub he was at. Whether or not this means he's actually being grounded by his mother or actually in jail, I don't know. But the word on the street currently is that a little 8-year-old kid he was trying to groom got wise to him and basically knocked him the fuck out. Teeth everywhere, you know, just broken ribs. I mean, I've literally heard Goofy Bone has been, like, absolutely fucked up by this kid.
Oh, man, and then he got taken to jail? He's in the can right now?
That's what I'm hearing, and I mean, you know, it's got to be pretty bad, because, I mean, I think pedophiles have it the worst when they're in jail, so, I mean, he's in big trouble at this point. But I mean,
man, I was unaware that Goofy Bone was in jail, or he was in what do the Mexicans call it, the pinta? In the Pinta. I didn't realize he was in the Pinta.
Well, I expect he's going to be taking it in the Pinta. I mean, he's a chubby chap, and I can imagine that there's an awful lot of cons that, more cushion for the pushing, as they say. So, well, actually, that said, I can't believe Goofy's not too used to it. But I mean,